And it is all music. It's all music related.
So what it is I teach. They have a specific program over there, specific concentration that's called entertainment and tourism communications. So what I teach is looking at how do people professionally work in entertainment tourism communications, specifically marketing, public relations, some journalism, entertainment journalism. We talk about entertainment marketing as well. We talk about PR, some advertising, some social media. So we kind of put that all together. And my students, I do teach some music specific coursework there too. There are two classes I teach that are entertainment industry studies with a specialization. One of them is called music entertainment. And what we do is it's basically a music industry class, but for non-performers. So these are students who are looking to become agents or managers or publicists or people who work in marketing or people who want to work in live music or in promotions, things of that nature. So I assume that my students walking in the door don't perform. They're not instrumentalists, they're not vocalists. We talk about working in the office or working for a company that assists and aids and promotes musicians and their works, whether it's a record label or radio station or promotions company or a live venue of some kind. So I do teach coursework within that realm. But I also teach classes like event planning and management, which kind of connect back to my days of throwing concerts when I was a kid. Throwing shows locally and having fun doing that. And I also teach classes in communications management, and I teach coursework that kind of looks at an overview of the entertainment and tourism industries too.
Okay, I have like a few more questions, and the Zoom is giving me this thing of like, hey,
Okay,
you have X amount of time. Can I send you another link, and because
no
I know
problem.
you're
I'll be
done
happy
by
to do that.
2, but I'll get you done. Okay, so here I'm just gonna. Is it fair to say that your life has kind of been, or your career? It sounds very serendipitous in the sense of you have this love, you have this passion, and you followed it, and at least career wise,
Mhm.
things worked out, right? Like,
Yes, I have to say I'm incredibly fortunate to have met the right people and have been at the right place at the right time in so many different circumstances. Had I not met this person, I wouldn't have done this. Had I not met this person, I wouldn't be doing that. There were a lot of excellent circumstances for me to be in the position that I'm in today. But I do attest that and chalk it up to a lot of great fortune. Yeah, I agree.
now, my next question also is when you talked about leaving Mean Street in 2005, my first thought is, well, Waleed, sharp guy, kind of reading the tea leaves, and maybe was like, this industry, the internet, things are going to change. Like, could you have had any idea, like, that, I'm just saying this,
Yeah.
I mean, the way that our lives have changed, what are your thoughts on that? Did you kind of see that happening at Mean Street? When did Mean Street end? Like, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I did have an inkling that perhaps things are going to get a little tighter and a little bit more difficult as the years go by. Did I
What did you
foresee?
see that made you think that? Sorry, I didn't mean
I
to.
saw some differences with the way in which people were getting their information. More and more people were going online to get information, and Main Street didn't have an excellent web presence. We weren't putting all of our stories online. We were kind of selectively putting certain things on there, but we didn't have a major web presence. And so I started seeing what other publications were doing, and I thought, wow, it would be really nice if we had that kind of opportunity, but we really didn't. We were a very small publication. There were, only a few of us that were working full time, putting the publication together. So it was, it wasn't. We didn't have the resources, and also, the advertising was changing too. One big thing that really changed it was uh, when the record labels, and specifically the major record labels, when they had a major financial issues in the early 2000s, when there was a lot of pirating going on and people, downloading records and not buying CDs anymore, and the record labels did make a great pivot from CDs to MP3s. They're kind of in between. They're still kind of stuck in the physical product world when people were starting to kind of jump off of buying physical product and getting into MP3s and downloading them illegally and whatnot. So the record labels lost money. They didn't have a lot of budgets for advertising, and we were fully advertiser supported. The only way Mean Street made money was through people putting ads there. And a lot of them were record labels putting ads. We had a lot of our eggs in the record label basket. So when the record labels started to falter when it came to finances, well, that affected Mean Street. And so we had to find other advertisers to kind of pick up the slack, and that was not easy to do. So because we were a free magazine, again, we didn't charge for the copies of the magazine. The only way we made money was through the advertisers. So that, I think, made things a little bit difficult for us financially. So I started to see things getting slightly tighter and tighter. But no, I mean, I didn't see a major change just yet. That was kind of a gradual change. So for me, that was an instance in which I just also had a personal wanting to do something different. And so I figured, well, if I start teaching, I guess that would be different. But that really wasn't the cards initially. That took a little while for me to get there. Main Street continued on after I left, and it had another editor-in-chief, Roberto Hernandez, who took over and did a wonderful job. And I had known him for many years because we were actually we were on the staff at the Cal Poly Post when we were at Cal Poly together back in the day. So he took over. He was initially just a contributing writer, but then we brought him and had him take over. He had also been working at other publications prior, so he had knowledge and experience coming into it. And so he was the final editor-in-chief of Mean Street. So Mean Street continued from 2005, and I believe the last issue would have been December of 2008. And interestingly enough, I was brought back in on a freelance basis for the last maybe 5 or 6 issues of Mean Street, somewhere in that realm, to be the art director and do all the design work. So I was doing the design work for Mean Street on a freelance basis at the end of 2008 there. And so I actually designed the very last issue of Mean Street, which I believe was December of 2008.
Have journalists, has it always been the kind of thing that journalists sort of scrape together, like, hey, I write a little bit here, I write a little bit here, and then that kind of gets all put in the pot for their life, and then with the goal of eventually getting on full-time somewhere?
I think so. Again, I don't have that experience personally, except for that middle era there where, yes, I was kind of a full-time freelancer. But yeah, I did have several journalists who were contributing to Mean Street, who were also contributing to, another half dozen to another dozen publications at the same time. So, and myself included, when I was a full-time freelancer, I remember I could walk into any Barnes and Noble or Borders and go through the magazines, and you would find at least 3 or 4 magazines on the rack there at any Barnes and Noble or Borders or any major bookstore at the time, and you would find me writing for at least 3 or 4 magazines, and you can open up, oh, there I am, and another one, oh, there I am there, and there I am there. That's how I was kind of cobbling my income together at the time. So yeah, I did have several journalists on our staff who were basically full-time freelancers, and they were writing for us, but they were also writing for several other publications. And I remember them, calling me and talking to me about, how certain months they were, unfortunately the well had ran dry and they didn't have a lot of things to do. And they were asking me, hey, can I get a couple more stories, or do you have anything else that you can give me? Because I need to kind of prop up my income this month, or, they just talked to me about their situations. And yeah, so I did have several contributors who were trying to make a go at it, just becoming full-time freelancers. And so with maybe, one eye looking to the side to maybe get into a full-time career doing that, and, with hopes of becoming a full-time editor or full-time writer or, some other kind of full-time content creator.